Hey guys, as promised, I wanted to take a little bit of time and speak with you all about Success Club and how I have managed to hit it every month and find some success. I hope that you listen to this with a really open mind because I've been thinking about it for days, really for probably 2 weeks now. Caitlin and I talked about me doing this before I left on the Success Club trip. And so everything that I'm going to share with you, I've put a lot of thought into. And the reason I'm prefacing it with that is that I think that it's going to seem fairly simple and that it might be easy for you to say, I'm doing all of those things, but you're going to have to take a really honest look at your practices and your methods and your business and hold yourself accountable to see if that is what you're consistently doing. There is a difference between doing something daily and doing something very similar in short spurts of time, particularly towards the end of the month. So just a couple things that I really think have been key with my ability to hit Success Club 10 almost every month. I did not hit Success Club 10 my first month or like my fourth month. But other than that, I've hit Success Club 10 every month. And I really think that it does come down to following the vital behaviors. I truly believe that. And let me just kind of share how those have played out with me. First of all, running your own challenge group, I think, is a big part of hitting Success Club. When you are running your own challenge group, people in your group that perhaps could be in there with a Beachbody On Demand account or a free account, or maybe they've only bought a program because they're unsure about Shakeology. When you are in that leadership role, you are seen as like the person that they trust and they go to and that motivates them. And it may seem simple and it may seem like that can't have that big of a difference, but I have always ran my own accountability groups. There have been a couple months before Eloise was born, like those 3 months, and then the month after she was born, that I did link up with Caitlin and Amy, and that I did link up with my sisters. But I really do still feel like in most of those situations, I was probably leading the group. We were working off a template that I had created, or I felt very active in those groups. In the one month, October or November, one of those 2 months was a tough month for me. And that was a month that I was not as active. I was really leaning on my co-coaches. And that makes sense. I just had a baby. And there's going to be things in your life that's the beauty of this job. You don't always have to do everything on your own, and you can work with others. But I do think that leading your own accountability groups and your own challenge groups sends not only a good message to your challengers and puts you in a position of leadership and of guidance, but it really sets you up to be consistent. You are making a commitment to them to check in every day, to be present. You get a lot of positive energy out of the group. You are interacting with people. You're paying closer attention to posts because you're not assuming another coach is going to come by and read it. And through that process, you're getting to know your customers and your challengers better and what could suit them. So I think that running your own accountability and challenge groups, whether that's a free group or a paid group, definitely has an impact on hitting Success Club more frequently. Next, your messaging. I think it is so easy to get bogged down by messages and this whole inviting aspect and this whole sharing aspect. And I spoke about this a little bit in the message video I created the other day. But if you are always approaching this from a desire to help others and to share your story and invite others to check this out, It's, hey, this is working so great for me. This is how I've lost X amount of pounds. And I don't ever talk about the physical aspect. I am always talking about what the challenge groups and the programs have done for like my mental state, my happiness, my confidence, my ability to manage stress. That's really the wheelhouse that I spend time in, because I believe that. I'm a runner. I'm going to do all of my physical stuff without Beachbody, right? What this gave to me was the ability to really focus on some other aspects of my life where I needed guidance and I needed help. So I'm always leading with that. If you are sharing your experience versus pushing product on people, there's a night and day difference. And sometimes I can see it in some of your posts that I'll think, gosh, that looks really salesy. And not just yours, in Beatnik, I see it as well. And then there's some people that it comes across as very genuine. So always think about your why. If you were sharing from your why and making sure that that's a part of every message. I know it seems simple, but it makes a huge difference. And you've got to be your own evaluator of that. You've got to be really honest with yourself and look back over your messaging and think, am I doing this because I want to hit SC? Am I sending this message because I need commission? Or am I like coming from a place of wanting to serve others? Okay, next. I know that I could probably talk about personal development until I'm blue in the face, but here's the thing. That to me is the biggest aspect of my business. And those of you that are not doing personal development regularly because of whatever, you either don't think it's important, you don't think you have time for it. A lot of us do daily devotionals or scripture readings. You want to make that your personal development. I get that. And that is a part of personal development. However, making time to spend 10 to 15 minutes every single day on something personal development oriented that is specific to areas that you need some help and guidance with in your life, particularly that relate to Beachbody, is so valuable. And I'll give you an example. So when I read The Happiness Project, I love that book, but I didn't necessarily think that book probably gave me as much of a push and direction in terms of the business as some books have. Entre Leadership is a really, really great place. Caitlin can talk about this, and I hope that's okay if I share, Caitlin. I read it after I was already growing a pretty good sized team, because Caitlin told me that when she read it, she felt like it wasn't as applicable to where she was right then. So you've got to find a book that works for you, or a podcast, or a audiobook that works for you. Not that you can't get good, valuable information from any personal development, and that it can be applied in some capacity to what we're doing here with the business. But there are books that can really help you where you are right now with your business and get your mindset right. My husband and I joke all the time that I've drank the PD Kool-Aid, that the fact that I have goals of things like speaking on the National Wake Up Call and being able to speak at Summit one day, and these big, ginormous goals, I don't even really feel that overwhelmed by them all of the time. I mean, there certainly are times that I think, am I kidding myself? Like, what? I'm never going to be a 15-star diamond. But I just push all of that out of my mind. I have definitely swum in the PD pool or drank the Kool-Aid until, I am a believer. I think that mindset is everything. And every day I get 10 to 15 minutes of personal development in. And if I am in the middle of something and I'm like, this isn't working for me, I switch it. Like, I'm 75% through the book Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. That is a game changer for a lot of people. For me, I felt like I'm already comfortable in that space, so I gave it a really good shot. And then I realized the other day, I don't know that this is serving me at this moment. I'm in line with this line of thinking. If you're looking at places to start, For confidence building, and like having purpose and going after your dreams, I would suggest You Are a Badass. I love that book. It was the first book that I read, and where I was at that point in my life, like I felt like I was just settling, and I was taking what was being handed to me in my life as, well, this is as good as it's going to get. And that's just not who I am, but I had really lost that part of me to like dream big, and you have to work at it sometimes. Just because you signed up to be a Beachbody coach doesn't mean that everything's going to happen for you in a snap. You've got to really put in some time and energy to make your dreams, right, become goals, and set a vision. And I don't think that I think it's okay if we don't know how to do that without help, right? And doing personal development is going to help your life beyond just Beachbody stuff. You know, my marriage, the way I parent, the way I interact with relationships with my parents. Every aspect of my life has been positively impacted by the amount of time I have spent on personal development. So you know if you are doing kind of like the bare minimum, 10 or 20 minutes a week, or once or twice a month, or nothing, or a week of it and then nothing. You know where you are with personal development. So if you're not where you want to be with your business, and you're not where you want to be with SC points regularly, I would absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, start with personal development. I can talk about it with you. We can find options that are specific for you, but I really, really, really think that for many people, that can be the missing piece. Because if your mind is not right, nothing else is going to be. It really, really won't. Okay. So just take that into consideration. Okay. I try not to get completely sidetracked and overwhelmed, because sometimes if you have more time, you could sit down and send out 10 or 15 messages one day. But the thing is, if all those people respond to you, then you have 10 or 15 messages to respond to the next day, plus more messages to send out. So for me, I stay very consistent. The last couple months, I am doing my follow-ups, and I'm trying to invite 2 new people to the business every single day. And I'm trying to share the opportunity with 2 to 3 more people every day. And when I say every day, that's Monday through Friday. I use the weekends to catch up. I don't invite over the weekend. Maybe I should be, especially with coaching, since that's an area that I have been slower to build. But that is what I do. I plan out my weeks on Monday. I got sidetracked the last few weeks because of some sickness in our house and getting ready for the cruise, and then being on the cruise and getting back from the cruise. And it just feels not good. Like, I don't like not being organized and not having a plan. So whatever your tracking system is, an organizational system for messaging, you got to have one. If you don't, I am going to upload some business activity trackers later today. Obviously, you guys so many of you have talked about that you use the one from the Beachbody back office, or the one that Olivia used, but there are some others out there that are pretty simple. And it's the one thing that I really feel like when I'm listening to leaders that are, 5-star and above leaders, so where I want to be, just as PD is constantly mentioned, and I think it gets missed often, something that I'm not doing that is being talked about all of the time is even an easier form of tracking, like using an electronic tracking system or a pen to paper tracking system. I'm not doing it, so I think it's worthwhile to try. But I do those messages consistently. I don't get bogged down. I don't get overwhelmed. I have very, very clear-cut plans every month that I want to hit SC5 by the 5th and 10th by the 10th. And then that sets me up for the remainder of the month to focus on my challenge groups, but I don't stop messaging, because if I want to hit SC5 by the 5th, I can't take off 15 or 20 days of messaging just because I'm at SC10 on the 8th or something. This month is a really good example, and we'll see what happens. I'm right now at SC32. So it's been a lot of effort, but I also think it's been really manageable. And I think that I have enough conversations going on that hitting those early goals of SC10 by April 10th will probably fall into place. It wouldn't if when I hit SC16 on the 8th, if I just stopped, okay? And I don't know what you're doing. I think that sometimes people, you may be doing that and may be struggling, but it might be a little bit more sporadic, but it feels like you're doing it every day. So you're like, yeah, I'm doing that. And sometimes it's hard to know unless you have that tracking component and can go back and look at exactly what you've been doing and how frequent. So if you're not using a tracking system, and even if you're using one, but you are not satisfied with where you are with your SC points, then let's mix it up for April. Pick one of the trackers that I'm going to upload, and let's all try it together, right? I mean, if you're saying, yeah, I'm not doing that, but I do my own method. Well, if that method isn't getting you where you want to be, then you got to switch it, right? I think that sometimes we get so comfortable doing what we're doing, and then we're frustrated with what we're doing that we're not even willing to step back and see, like, okay, well, what's not working for me? So that's a challenge for you. In April, let's use a different business activity tracker, and let's see if you get to where you want to get to. I think that's really it. I know that seems simple. Oh, last thing. If you are not being a product of the product, you are always going to struggle hitting SC points. It's just that simple. And I think that that's laid out for you, but from the time you sign up to become a coach, if you are drinking your Shakeology once or twice a week, then you probably are not feeling the regular benefits of Shakeology. Therefore, you cannot speak to those benefits, and you're less familiar with the product. If you are not starting and finishing a program, like let's say you're kind of doing a hybrid, or you are hopping in and out of this program, or hopping around on Beachbody On Demand, or even honestly doing the Challenge du Jour. The Challenge du Jour is a wonderful option. However, if you listen to the National Wake Up Call a couple weeks ago with Julie, she talked about getting back to the fundamentals, okay? And for her, and I believe this too, being a person that starts and finishes a program, and is able to share that experience with their audience is not only important because it shows your commitment and you are learning to be you're learning more about a program, you can talk better to a program, but you are learning that you press play even on the days that you don't want to. And that relates to your business, that you are messaging even on the days that you don't want to, and you're doing your PD even on the days that you don't want to. All of these things are super consistent behaviors that don't take that much time when they become habits. And if you hold yourself to that degree of accountability, which really is not, if you've read The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge, it's just as easy to do the wrong thing as it is to do the right thing, really, because in the scheme of things, 10 minutes of PD is not going to make or break your day, right? You can easily skip it. You can also easily choose to get it in, and it's a simple choice. But making that choice to get it in every single day for a month, it's going to become something that you just do like clockwork. You don't even think about it. You can also not do it, and it's going to put you that much further back from making that particular behavior a habit. So great PD place to start, in my opinion, other than Badass, is Slight Edge. I think The Slight Edge or The Compound Effect are really, really wonderful books about small, consistent behaviors build momentum and give you the changes that you need to make in your life become much, much more tangible and real, because you can see that the progress is happening. And it also just points out that not doing things is often just as easy as doing them. So now I'm starting to ramble. Anyway, those are all my thoughts on SC points. It should be, I'm never going to be the type of coach that like comes and barks down your throat about why you should hit Success Club. But if you're a Beachbody coach and you want to be an active coach, whether that means cover the cost of your Shakeology, be a part-time coach, be a full-time coach, have these ginormous goals of one day speaking of Summit, anywhere in that entire range, you have to hit SC every month. It's that simple, okay? And it is possible. I've seen people do it in 24 hours, 36 hours, the last day of the month. If it's possible on the last day of the month, there's no reason why it's not possible on the first day of the month. I would love to challenge us that everybody in Team Top Knot, for the first time in April, let's shoot for Success Club 5 as a minimum in April. Let's change 3 lives in the month of April. I know you know 3 people in your network and in your world that could desperately use some aspect of what we're doing, whether that's the Shako or the program or the accountability group. Help get them what they need in order to make the changes in their lives. Okay, I know that you guys can do it. I would love to hear feedback and questions and anything. Feel free to post them below. But I hope that helps. Writing your own accountability groups, being consistent with your messaging, sharing your experience, and wanting to serve others versus being focused on SC points and commission, being a product of the product, and personal development. Okay, those are my 5 musts in order to make Success Club happen. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope that it doesn't seem like, well, I'm doing all that stuff. If you really think that you're doing all of that stuff, then let's have a one-on-one conversation, and I'm happy to kind of work through and we can kind of troubleshoot. But my guess would be that if you are struggling with hitting Success Club regularly, you're not doing something in one of those 5 areas. All right, have a great day, guys.